Good evening. Our top story this week. The U.S. Supreme Court overturns the South Carolina Supreme Court's decision in the baby Veronica case that gave a real father custody of his daughter based on an interpretation of the Indian Child Welfare Act. And so the drama in the custody battle will continue as the wannabe adoptive parents vow to fight on and keep the little girl's fate in limbo, and will leave Maine's Attorney General dismayed at the decision, which now places limits on the applicability of the Indian Child Welfare Act. In California this week, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors is proposing a citizen commission to oversee the child protective industry, which they're now calling America's fourth scandal, as their failures and screw-ups are brought to light and an audit is called for. In Sacramento, the case of the little Russian baby who CPS snatched after his mother questioned the medical care he was receiving is officially dismissed. And a California state Senate bill is aimed at teaching foster kids pregnancy prevention as a way to keep CPS from taking their babies. In Florida, Governor Rick Scott is standing by the head of the child protective industry in light of the deaths of 4 kids known to CPS agents in the last 6 weeks. And the head of the Florida child protective industry doesn't want to change a thing but would rather stay the course. In New York, the Warren County Child Abuse Hotline is under fire for screwing up and not properly handling reports of child abuse. In Massachusetts, CPS agents are complaining about high caseloads. The state of Washington gets rid of its foster care review panel, and Tennessee reported an ongoing class action lawsuit is calling the year 2012 a year of setbacks for the child protective industry. And a Tennessee judge threatens to jail a CPS agent in a battle to release child fatality records to the media. In Russia, the children's ombudsman says that no more children will be going to the United States, regardless of calls for flexibility with adoptions that were already in progress before the ban was introduced. In New Zealand, a foster contractor admits to abusing and verbally insulting foster kids in his care. A real family couldn't do anything about their baby being abused and neglected while in the New Zealand foster care system, and now he's dead. And in Scotland, social workers have been accused of bullying and making decisions without proper evidence during attempts to take unborn babies into care the minute the mother gives birth. In Canada, the child protective industry in Ontario's region of Waterloo has been found to intervene too quickly in child protection matters, according to a provincial audit. A real mother is upset because her son is afraid to go back to school after a social worker dragged him out of a class and questioned him to see if his mother drank or did drugs. And a foster parent from British Columbia is cleared of sexual abuse charges. In Australia, Victorian CPS agents have closed the case on 8 kids before they died in the last 12 months. And that's not even including the 20 more who died with their cases still open. An Australian detective who investigated child abuse in the Catholic Church was warned that his life was in danger from the Catholic Mafia. And 2 kids who were abused by their stepfather is suing the Australian child protective industry for failing to protect them. In England, parents are warned that they could lose their kids for smoking cigarettes. A man who was seen as the ideal foster parent for years was arrested for sexually abusing 3 girls in his care. A 62-year-old North Wales man is arrested for sexually assaulting kids in a children's home. A British social worker leaves her infamous list of targeted vulnerable children in the paperwork given to her mother who she was messing with. A British social worker was suspended for 12 months after screaming baby murderers outside of a couple's home and threatening to kill them. And adoptive parents in England are not getting their post-adoption support money that they were promised after adopting special needs foster kids, and are therefore giving them back to the child protective industry. In sports this week, NBA star Allen Iverson is given 72 hours to hand over $71,000 in back child support to his ex or go to jail. In Oregon, an evil foster molester sparks a $23 million lawsuit on behalf of 11 foster kids out of the 50 who had been in his home, with more names being added to the list as they are identified. In Alaska, a foster parent gets busted for sexually abusing a 4-year-old. In South Carolina, a foster parent is accused of having sex with a teenager in his care. And in Utah, a 17-year-old is accused of setting a fire to his group home. In Illinois, an arrest is made in a 2-year-old murder of a 4-year-old foster child, with the foster mother being charged. In Indiana, a couple of foster parents is facing prison time after killing a 5-year-old in their care. In Texas, a CPS agent is fired for fucking up in the case of a 22-month-old who died. And in Maine, a judge rules that an 11-year-old girl who was accused of killing a baby is still not competent to stand trial. In Florida, a mother loses her kids because her landlord didn't finish renovating the bathroom, which he started a few days after she moved in, nor did he turn the water back on. In Michigan, a foster care provider is told that she and her husband are too old to adopt the kids she's been taking care of. In New York, a mother who was falsely arrested on phony drug charges finally gets her kids back thanks to a newspaper article which exposed how the child protective industry was holding them hostage for no real reason. In Ohio, a real mother gets 6 months in jail for snatching her kids back from their foster home. The lawsuit is claiming that a cop from Columbus, Ohio ignored a child abuse report. And finally, tonight in Colorado, a transgendered first grader wins the right to use the girls' bathroom at school. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK, over and out.